Hey guys, John here, and welcome back to John's RC. So recently Horizon Hobby has released their first DLC package for RealFlight. It's the new quarterly content package 1, and this is going to be adding 6 new models to the RealFlight Evolution software. So the models that this quarterly content package adds is the E-flite UMX Voodoo, the E-flite UMX Twin Otter, the E-flite D18, the E-flite F4U, the E-flite Eratix, but they also have this imaginary aircraft airliner thing. It's the RealFlight 676 airliner, which is just supposed to mimic the Boeing 767. Sorry. So I'm going to be flying this with my Spectrum NX10, and you can see I already have everything hooked up. So yeah.
Alright guys, welcome to RealFlight. So to access the model menu, you can do this multiple ways. The first method is to just move your mouse cursor to the left hand side of your screen until you see the second button down from this little drop down menu. Press it, and then you'll be able to access your select aircraft menu, and you can just do everything here. I currently have the Turbo Timber Evolution selected, but if I want to select something else, I can just click on it. Say I want to fly the Timber X, just press fly, and you're good to go. Now the second way to do this is by accessing the new modern menu that RealFlight Evolution has to offer. So just press the escape key on your keyboard, and then you'll access the newer menu. Just press free play, aircraft, and then you get the same exact menu, but it's just a little updated. So it looks a lot sleeker, it looks a lot better, and it also has this nice information tab, and I think this is just information from the Horizon website. And I think on some models, let's say the Turbo Timber Evolution, it even tells you what switches do what on the Interlink DX. You can also access this menu by pressing the cancel button on your Interlink DX if you purchase a RealFlight Evolution with a transmitter. However, I do not have this functionality because I'm using my Spectrum NX10 with a micro USB that plugs directly into my computer. So I do not have this functionality, so I'm just going to be pressing the escape key. So the first plane I'm going to be flying is the E-flite UMX Voodoo. I actually own this plane in real life. I've done a video on it. If you haven't seen that, you can go watch it. It's a really, really nice plane. I love the paint scheme. I love the power system. I love the power. It's just an awesome plane. You can see on RealFlight, it comes in 4 different variants. 2S without gear, 2S, 3S without gear, 3S. I've only ever flown this model on 3-cell and without the gear, so this is basically my setup right here. So I'll be flying this one first. However, I will be trying 2-cell without gear too. So I'm just going to press select, press fly, and then I'm here. So on my right hand side of the screen, you can see 3 things. I have my nav guides, flight modes, and I have my visual transmitter for you guys. So my nav guides is just going to tell me information such as airspeed, altitude, my battery remaining. For hardware, it's just frames per second, RPM, and wind, because you can change the wind in simulation settings. My flight modes is going to be safe, select, and AS3X. So you can just see if I flip my switch, you have my safe and AS3X. I think this is easier applied to helicopters just to know if you're in idle up 1, idle up 2, normal mode. But it also works on planes. And I have my visual transmitter on the bottom right. You can't see it right now because the plane is in my hand, so it won't show anything, but I promise that it does work. So yeah, when you first load in, the plane is going to be in your hand if it doesn't have the gear. And to launch it, all you have to do is click anything you want. So I'm just going to click my left mouse button, and now I'm flying. And then you can see my transmitter works too. So what I found from this plane is that it's very, very nimble. It's also very quick. Whoa. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to do one more thing just for you guys. I'm going to put on the binoculars because this plane is a bit tiny and it can get far away sometimes. So I'm flying this without safe right now. My airspeed is clocking in. Hold on, let me just do a pass. Alright. See, 68 miles per hour, 67. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I haven't put a little speed thingy in my UMX. I don't think it's even capable of holding that weight, so I might just get like one of those speed gun things. But if it's accurate, 68 miles per hour on a little UMX is super impressive. Because I know it's actually really fast in real life. This also feels great. It feels super accurate. In real life, I don't have any type of expo or dual rate system going on. A lot of people ask me if I'm flying with dual rates or expo. Half of the time I'm not, because I'm kind of lazy to program it, but also I like airplanes really touchy. Same for helicopters. I like being able to have a super responsive model. And this UMX Voodoo is just that. It's fast. You can do some aerobatics with it. Its roll rate is pretty high for UMX. Very scale. Other than the canopy is not a razorback canopy, it's a bubble canopy. It's so funny. Horizon released this model as soon as I got back into Reno planes. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that one video of Voodoo just striking by the camera and making this super loud sound. It's an amazing thing. Here, I'm trying to recreate that. I think he was coming in this way. And then... yeah, just like that, except for the sound. It feels really realistic. I think RealFlight has nailed this one. Sometimes the models on RealFlight don't feel exactly like their actual model. I know some models are super accurate, and this one's on the list. The Viper 70mm is also on that list. Amazing plane. I'm going to do some inverted passes now. Full speed. This thing's awesome. I will not lie. I tried to do my maiden twice on this thing because the first time it was super tail heavy, and even though the CG felt fine, and the second time we tried to do it, we put a bit of down trim. I put too much and it just went straight into the ground. So the third time was the charm. I fixed it up and everything was great. I think the P-51s that Horizon offers are a bit tail heavy stock. I've owned the UMX P-51 BL, the original one. I think this is what it's based off, the Voodoo. It looks really similar. It might just be a repainted one with different power system. But we don't have to talk about that. It's Voodoo, okay? So, it's flying really awesome right now. I think I'm just going to go in for a landing. I'll land it the way I land it in real life. Because there's a patch of grass that's right next to the little stands that we fly at. And it kind of looks similar to this, so I'll try and land here. Without hitting the bush, of course. Yeah, I kind of just land like that. Except my wing does not clip into the ground. So, I'm going to be flying the 2-cell version now. So I'll just do 2S without gear. Actually, we'll do 2S with the landing gear. Just experiment. So I'll just take off. Okay, we're up. Feels around the same, except it has landing gear. I really don't like landing gear on my Warbird Micros. It just bothers the heck out of me. especially when I'm doing inverted stuff. But landing gears are convenient. We just need a way to put in retracts on our micros. That would make life a lot easier. Wouldn't have to be dirtying the underside of our fuselage. It actually feels pretty good on 2-cell. I think the main advantage to 2-cell is it's going to be slower. Because other than that, it feels exactly the same. So with the smaller battery, you're probably going to be able to fly it in smaller spaces. But it's still pretty quick, so maybe not everything. Like normally I can fly my UMXs in my cul-de-sac. I don't think this is the case, it's just too fast. The new Turbo Timber Evolution, the UMX that came out, I love flying that in my cul-de-sac, just doing torque rolls, prop hangs. And even just normal flying, it's able to stay in my cul-de-sac, which is awesome. But this thing is just too fast, even on 2-cell, because on 2-cell, it's going 42 miles per hour. Still too fast for my cul-de-sac. So, do some low pass shots. Maybe get an inverted one. Whoa. The Voodoo is just an awesome plane, both in RC scale and real life. It's an awesome paint scheme, but the current Voodoo is currently painted white. No more vibrant purple. I actually have a painting, or I'm not sure if it's a painting. It looks really realistic. It possibly is a painting. But I have a framed picture of Voodoo that I got from Planes of Fame a while back. It was one of my earlier videos. I think it's still up. You can check it out. I got a Voodoo frame from there, and I still have it up. It's an awesome thing. I didn't even know what Voodoo was back then. I just saw a purple P-51. I was like, oh, I want it. So, let's go ahead and land it. Nice. Touchdown. Alright, we'll taxi back now. Okay, go to the grass. Oh, okay. Alright, so that was the E-flite Voodoo in RealFlight. And I have to say, that's pretty damn realistic. Like I said, I've flown the Voodoo in real life, and I have my video up. It's an amazing plane. It's very nimble. It's very quick. And this thing has a pretty good replica of it in the virtual world. And if you want to practice flying this on the simulator, maybe it's like rainy and you really want to fly it, you can definitely try this out. So it's an awesome plane, and I flew it on 3-cell, 2-cell. They both have blistering speeds for little ultra micro. So yeah, let's move on to the next model. And that's what the model looks like. The model actually looks super realistic. You can see everything here. And you even got like the colored avion motor, the IC2 connector. It's super cool. So I'm just gonna press fly, and here we go. So these are what my throws are looking like. Just take off. And we're up. So I've done a video on this plane, and my main complaint was it was heavy, and it doesn't really affect the plane much if you're flying at like 80, 90, 100% throttle. But because the way E-flite designed this plane, they made it so you didn't have to glue anything and it just bolts and screws. Now, it's super convenient, but the problem is it adds a lot of extra weight. And like I said, when you're at higher throttle values, it won't really matter. But when you're doing slow flying, what I've experienced is a lot of stalling. And if it was just a bit lighter, it wouldn't do that. So, let's see this go into a hover. But don't get me wrong, it's still an amazing model. And I like the way that E-flite has made it a bind and fly thing. Because most airplane, or most profile planes, just come in as RF kit. And spoilers, I did buy 2 twisted hobby planes. Actually, not buy one of them. It was gifted to me. But I will be doing a comparison video sometime in the future between the two. But you do get a lot of value with this thing. You get everything: servos, motor, receiver, all of that. But in the simulator, I don't think it's realistic. Yeah. It flies a bit too easy, if that makes sense. Like, when you go into a hover, in real life, I'm not able to just do this. I don't think my Eratix works like that. Because this is so easy. I just go into the vertical position, and then just move my aileron stick to the left or right, whatever I want. And it just does it. So hovering on this thing is not very realistic. Roll rate seems about the same. I put a bit of expo on mine because it was just too touchy for me. But I think now, after I got used to it, it feels a bit slow now, so I might have to remove it. But I haven't flown my Eratix in a while. Should probably bring it out. Speed, I think it's pretty accurate. I've never done any actual speed checks on this thing. But normally when I'm flying my profile planes, I don't really fly at 100% power because I'm always doing some type of maneuver. And normally you don't really need to go full throttle every time. That's a bit excessive. But hey, if you're just looking for something that goes together in like 30 to 40 minutes, it actually took a bit longer for me because I couldn't figure out how to put the elevator in, and I got some hanger rash. But if you're smarter than me and you can read a manual, then this thing is really good because it just goes together. It's just all screws. I also like that the landing gear comes as fully assembled because when I was building my Twisted Hobbies profile plane, I didn't even put the landing gear on because I didn't want to go through all the work to do it. Because I had to like remount and like use like CA glue, and I put it on, but it didn't hold for very long. I just took it out and just hand launched it. I hand launch and catch this thing too. I don't really use the wheels. I guess like they're there for crashing if I wanted them to. But the wheels make a lot of sound that I do not like, because it's just plastic wheels, so I just like hand launching it, catching it. It's also a lot more fun, challenge yourself. If you just go up and then 0% throttle and stall, this thing stalls too forgivingly to be an Eratix, because I've blown this thing a lot. Either it's in my cul-de-sac, a park. I've blown it a lot. And I know it does not stall that forgivingly. But it feels like the base to an Eratix. Like, if you just take away like all like the nitty-gritty stuff and say, hey, it's an Eratix, yeah, I would believe you, because it flies like an Eratix, minus like the hovering and stuff. If Horizon made a plane, if Horizon made a plane that feels like the simulator Eratix, that would be like a no-brainer to go by, because being able to do this, that's incredible. But there's no way I'm able to do this in real life. Also, I'm running out of battery. I have 37 milliamps. I just realized. Okay. Sorry, I forgot entirely that simulators have battery life. Okay, so that was my flight on the Eratix. Now, it feels somewhat like an Eratix. It feels like the base to an Eratix. However, once you start just taking things into account like hovering, stalls, weight, and all of that, it doesn't really feel like one. This thing flies way too easy to be an Eratix. It feels like it's on rails. Like you saw when I'm flying, I just went into a vertical position, put my throttle at like 50%, went straight left aileron, and it just torque rolled like a beast. But in real life, I know it can't do that because I've flown it many, many times, and there's no way it would be able to do that. And same thing for stalls. Like I explained, this plane is a bit on the heavier side for a profile plane because it just snaps on with screws. So with the added weight, it's going to stall a lot less forgivingly than a lighter counterpart. So when you're trying to do maneuvers at like low percentage throttle, which you're probably going to be at most of the time, given it's a profile plane, it's not going to be as accurate as in real life. So, I mean, it's a cool plane. It looks super good. It looks super realistic, but I don't think this one is very realistic in terms of flying in simulators. The simulator physics are just not right for this plane. So now let's do the E-flite UMX Twin Otter. Alright guys, I now have the E-flite UMX Twin Otter selected. I didn't go through the selection process because I explained it twice now, so it's just straightforward. Just select Twin Otter and then you get it. So it only comes in one variant with the landing gear and the 1 cell battery. So you can see I'm moving everything. It has a differential thrust. Sound very realistic, but it looks very realistic. So let's go ahead and fly it. Okay, it's in the air. Yeah, it doesn't sound realistic at all. That's okay. Sounds in simulators are very hard to replicate. Now, this Twin Otter is crazy. Because of its high wing design, it's still capable. But also, with differential thrust, you're able to do things that I have never seen before in a model. It's just absolutely insane. So let's see if I'm able to do the same thing with the simulator version. So just go straight up. Oh, there we go. I'm also able to hover this thing, which is hard to believe, but I have a little YouTube short on it. Whoa. Okay, so hovering, very difficult. What the heck was that? Let me try this again. yeah, this thing does not handle hovering the same as its real version. I think the problem is the differential thrust is too touchy. Like, it completely shuts off the motor on one side. You can see it. And I'm flying with one motor now. But on the real thing, it's definitely not as touchy. Because I'm able to do like short little poppings. But yeah, this thing's crazy. It does not like hovering at all. So in terms of differential thrust, I won't think that's very realistic. Kind of bummed out about that though, because that's the main reason I love this plane, because its flying style is so unique. Oops, sorry. Reset. Yeah, so if you take away the differential thrust, to me it kind of loses its shine. I am just a terrible pilot. Sorry. But alright, let's try sport. Let's just try sport flying. Because that doesn't require much differential thrust. To do a coordinated turn, you just need very, very minimal rudder. Sorry, I'm saying rudder, it's differential thrust. I'll just call it a rudder, same thing. Very, very little. The differential thrust is so touchy on this thing. Like, so let's just do some upside down. In terms of just like controlling it, just pitch, yaw, bank. I was trying to find the word. It feels pretty good. It feels pretty realistic. The throws are not too high, just like the real one. Elevator feels good. Aileron feel good. No flaps. I actually got tricked by this model, because when I first opened the box to the Twin Otter, I thought it came with flaps and a rudder. But because it had the control surface cut out, like E-flite tricked me. I didn't know. I thought my plane was broken because when I bound it, my rudder and my flaps were not working. I didn't know that the flaps weren't there. It was just there for looks, and that my rudder was differential thrust. So I was like, oh, I'm just stupid, I guess, because it would be super awesome if this plane came with flaps, though. Make it STOL capable. I don't think it would be good for remote locations, though, because the differential thrust is crazy for something like that. But it's possibly doable. We have 700 milliamps right now. You do get long flight time to the thing, I will say that. Touching goes. Back to the back. Take off again. Let's do an upside down low pass. Something new happens every time I bang the sticks on this thing. Put it in any corner, and something different happens. So I'm just gonna go ahead and land. I think I made enough of this model. Okay, so that was my flight on the E-flite UMX Twin Otter. And it actually feels alright, it's decent. But the main part of it that I am bummed out about is that the differential thrust isn't really realistic. It's way too touchy for a differential thrust, and you could see it because when I was trying to hover, it just fell onto the ground. And I know I'm able to do it in real life because I have a little YouTube short on it. It's an awesome plane. I didn't even know it could hover. I just tried it and it worked. But with this thing, it's way too touchy. And I don't know if I could like add X on this thing. If you can, if I find a way, I'll probably can. Sorry. If I find a way, I'll do it. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I digress. But yeah. So it's a really nice flying model on the simulator if you just take the differential thrust out of the picture. But it kind of loses its shine to me because the main reason I like this plane is because it has a unique flight style with a differential thrust. It's stall capable, but it's also able to do funny things when you just move sticks in a corner, which I really like. But on the simulator, if it doesn't have accurate differential thrust, then it's just a UMX plane to me that looks cool. So, yeah, I think if I'm able to find a way to change the throws or change the rates on the differential thrust, I'll probably figure out how to do that because I really like the Twin Otter in real life. It's a super cool plane. So yeah, it's time for the last part of the video, the Beechcraft D18. Okay, so this is going to be the last part of the video, the Beechcraft D18 from E-flite. Now, I actually do not own this model, but I was able to fly it from a flying field friend. His name is also John. There's a lot of Johns in this hobby. But yeah, he owns the Beechcraft D18. He let me fly it. And the model actually comes in two variants. I forgot to show you guys. It comes in 3S and 4S. I flew on the 4SL. And I loved it. It was super, super nice. Super stable. Looked very good. And yeah, so I'm just going to take off. It tracks up. And now we are in the air. This model also has differential thrust, I'm pretty sure. It has rudder and differential thrust. Oh yeah, it feels pretty similar. I don't think it looks as good in the simulator as it does in real life. I think in the simulator it looks a bit more cartoonish. And it's not a bad thing. I think it flies pretty similar actually. But if you want to be really picky, I guess you could say something about the model. I actually saw this plane not too long ago in real life full scale. At school, it did a low flyby on campus, like super close to us. I got like scared for a second, but yeah, it was really nice to see. And I was like, hey, I didn't know E-flite made a bigger version of that. For some reason, the plane feels a bit nose heavy. Maybe it's not nose heavy, but it pitches down a bit when I let go of the sticks. Can I trim that out? I've never trimmed out, okay, not E-flite. Oh, I can. Can I? I think I trimmed it out. Oh yeah, I trimmed it out. Too much. It's cool that you're able to trim it out, but you can only trim it out for one model, and then you have to recenter it because you're gonna have so many models, so you're gonna put everything back at 0 every single time. It's awesome though. You know, gotta get some hovering action. Passengers won't like me after this one. Because, you know. Oh wait, I'm actually hovering it. Oh, I was actually hovering it. Okay. I've been doing a bit of sport on this thing. Let's fly it like it's a real plane. Because I don't think the real D18 is able to fly like it's an extra 300. Don't have enough to turn, so let's turn the other way. Doing very, very minimal inputs. I don't think you can like barely see it on my sticks. Very, very minimal. Nice and easy. Alright. Let's go back to my super scale flying. This is what I would do if I was a commercial pilot. This is the most scale flying you'll ever see from me. Scale is cool. I'm getting a lot of battery time too. I'm still at 3000 milliamps. I won't cut it as close as I did with the Eratix. I flew that thing to 37 milliamps. I think it has flaps, right? And I push them down. Oh yeah, it does. Alright. Let's do some low and slow. Flaps are so fun to mess around with. Especially with full aircraft. Because you're able to do a lot of different maneuvers. Like on my Turbo Timber X, not Turbo Timber X, what am I saying? The Timber X, I have flaps and spoilers, and you're able to do a lot more with it just by messing around with it. Someone asked me why I have spoilers set up on my Timber X instead of landing flaps, and it's just a lot more fun. I just wanted to mess it around with it, you know. Do another low pass. I get even lower this time. Oh, ground touch. Okay. Try it again. Get a bit risky. Gotta practice for my limbo event. But that's coming up soon. Flying left to right. I think RealFlight does offer a limbo thing that you can mess around with. Like a limbo challenge. But it's a fun fly. I won't train for a fun fly. It's supposed to be a fun fly, not a serious fly. You can see the difference with us in action. Get a bit of close up on the plane. That is awesome. Okay. So that was my flight on the E-flite Beechcraft D18. Now, I will say it's actually really, really realistic. The throws are realistic. The power is realistic. So, yeah. I was able to get around the same speed. I haven't flown the D18 in a while because, like I said, it's not my plane. It was my flying field friend's plane. And the one time I was able to fly it on video, it was an awesome plane. It was super stable. It looked great. Power was amazing. Had lots of speed to it. And I was also able to do some like low and slow scale. I don't think I did very much scale in this flight, but it is able to fly scale. And I also got a bit of hovering action on accident in this flight too. So yeah, I think Horizon has done pretty well for this DLC package. So that's the end of the video because I flew all the planes that I own from the DLC package. So I flew the Voodoo, the Twin Otter, the Eratix, and the D18. And for the most part, they were really good. I think some takeaways or some important notes were that the Eratix was too easy to fly in real flight, and the simulation physics were not too good because I was able to just fly that thing on rails and it wouldn't even move when I was doing hovering. And for the Twin Otter, the differential thrust was way too touchy. And I knew this because I flew it on video on a YouTube Shorts. I was able to do some hovering, but on this thing, it did not allow me to do that. It just, as soon as I touched the rudder, it just went straight down. And I did get a bit of a crash when I was trying to stick bang it. So yeah, other than that, I think it's a pretty good DLC update.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my 4 flights that I did on RealFlight Evolution. So now I'm going to be discussing if the $20 package is actually worth it. And I would say it in fact is. The physics on the simulator and the simulation physics are outstanding. And for $20 you get a bunch of things, and it's very, very realistic to the actual thing. Of course, there's going to be the little bit of quirks. I have the Twin Otter pulled up right now, and like I said in my flight video, sometimes the differential thrust is a bit wonky, leading to crashes, but if you take that out, it's super, super realistic, and I would say it flies almost exactly to the actual plane. So if you're thinking about getting an E-flite plane, so maybe you're thinking about getting the E-flite Eratix or maybe the D18, but you don't want to just spend a whole lot of money on it just for you not to like it, you can probably get this with the quarterly concept pack to see if you actually like the model before you buy it. And also, if you own these E-flite models already, but you want to learn new things, but you're too scared to fly them in real life, this is also an outstanding DLC package because the simulation physics are close enough for you to get just like the base feel about how you're gonna do the maneuvers in real life. So, okay, that's pretty much it. So thanks for tuning into John's RC, and if you're new to this channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys, I'll see you in the next one.